Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So it's day 2 of the event, Sweet Vengeance, and what I want to do in this episode is talk about some of the decks I've built. This time it is going to be a little bit more budget friendly. I didn't go after the deck this time. I went after pack 1 of both of the events and also the support decks, support packs, because I was trying to see if I can get lucky and pull the ultra rare and also the event card. Unfortunately, I didn't get either. I also didn't pull it from the 5-star collection. So the only thing I'm left with is the support card, and I was lucky enough to be able to craft, using the runes I collected, a master collection card. So I have 2 of those cards in my arsenal right now, so I'll be building some decks around those, but also using some of the past event cards to talk about different decks. Now, the thing is, I don't actually have my solo bosses pushed up to level 200 just yet. The changes to the overkill objective definitely can be felt here. And the nice thing is, as a guild, we did push our bosses up to close to level 300, so I will be able to show those as well, at least those decks against those bosses. Now, one thing I do want to call out before I forget is that you can get the Yorn Pest in the event shop this time. It has a 20-week cycle, and it's one of those turn delayer cards that you cannot farm from the campaign itself. So once you get it, make sure you keep it and don't dust it. Now, you may already have some pretty decent decks from previous events, such as the Babylonica deck. This was actually the last deck that I invested in. It was about a month ago, and this deck still can take out any boss, including the legend bosses, with ease. And you can also use this deck, such as the light human deck from the War for the Skies event. This was one of my favorite decks for a long time. I used this to push solo bosses to about level 200 pretty often. So this deck does really well, and I still really like it. And you can also use a non-commander deck. You may even have the Hell deck, the Last Slayer Dark God deck. And this deck, even though it's not commander, can still deal really good damage. And this is, again, with 1 key, and I was able to take it out. But the focus of this is not going to be on this particular set of decks, but on the ones that we can build using budget-friendly cards. So let's take a look now. Now, what you're looking at here is the the Windigo deck that I used in the last Water Commander event. The difference is I changed up the last card here to use Cerulean, but any Water Ancient card would work as well. I just wanted to use the relics I got from this Player Celebration event, where we got these relics for free. And so basically this deck is really easy to use. On turn 1, you'll get a bunch of power gems from the Dynamic Dougal and also Iron Spine. And then you fill up the rest of the board with water gems. And then you just do a quick match, and there you go. You're able to take down the boss easily with overkill, and you can do this quickly over and over again. Now, for my collection hero, I got Ophrah. So I'm bringing 3 of these to try and use her as the damage dealer. But she doesn't have heal, so then I thought about bringing the 2 cards from the Babylonica deck as the cards that can provide a little bit of heal and also some power gems. In terms of the relics, I focus mostly on the Mystic relics so I can get more damage from her. And the way I'm playing this deck is pretty simple. The guild boss has dodge as the debuff, and basically if you want to play, the way you want to play is just think of it as a 4-turn delay. So you'll have a 4-turn cooldown before you need to do an attack. It's best if you can time your attacks so that the dodge goes away, because you will miss some of your attacks and it is going to impact your damage overall. So what I do is the turn before dodge is over, I activate Ophrah's skills. What that does is it will give you a complete board of earth gems. And then after that, you can activate Babylonica as well as Arboretum, because what you can do is you can get a couple of power gems each time you do that. And because you can get this every single turn, you're going to be able to build up a nice damage output from that particular team. So every time I'm able to deal damage, I can deal approximately 1 to 2 billion. And so with a few hits, I can take down the level 280 guild boss pretty easily that way. But health does become a problem, so I have to make sure that every single turn I am matching enough gems to power up the 2 technological heroes, so that I can actually do the damage there, as well as get some health. So again, every turn before dodge goes away, go ahead and activate Ophrah so that you can maximize the number of earth gems on the board, so that when you do a power gem match, you're increasing your damage there. So this is a second attack here, and I'm able to take the health down to 2 billion, so I was able to deal 3 billion total hits, 3 billion total damage in that particular hit. And then for the next couple of turns, doing the same thing here. Again, every time I'm matching, I make sure I match at least 9 gems so that I can use the battle skills every single turn to do a little bit of heal and also get power gems. I'm also trying to preserve power gems if I can, but I'm less concerned about doing so because I know that there's always going to be gems getting created there. So I'm getting ready for the final attack here. So this is where I activate all of the battle skills once again, and then I get one final match in, again, making sure that I have just enough to get the last couple of power gems in there. And then with that, with a full board of gems and also with a couple of relics that can give me additional power gems, do a power gem match here with the 3s on the corner there. And I'm able to take down the boss here with the remaining 1.5 billion and, take out a level 280 boss. For this next team, I wanted to use an Earth Warrior deck. So I'm using Vulcan as the leader that boosts all Earth Warriors, and I brought in support cards plus Abramelon from various different events. But really what I'm doing is I'm using all the different relics from different classes to my advantage. For this particular setup, I don't have a particularly good power gem spawner, but I do have Guru Pachyscept as a gem spawner, and I also have Henga that could help every time you attack. Now, the battle skill for Vulcan also destroys water gems, so it kind of counts as a gem destroyer as well. So overall, the team has both gem spawners and gem destroyers, and I have a mini nuke from Abramelon, although I'm not really counting on the nuke in this case because there's only one of them. So the way I'm playing this deck is I'm using the relics to passively spawn power gems when I get enough gems on the board. I use Vulcan when I can to try to group the power gems together. And then I also use Guru Pachyscept to then fill up the rest of the board as much as I can. Earlier on, I'm not going to fill up a lot, but I am able to deal about 1 billion damage just by that. The animation does take a while though because of all the relics, and so I skipped ahead a little bit. But the gameplay is pretty similar, and then I'm using Guru Pachyscept to heal. So this team is a mixed bag of everything, but it does what it needs to. It heals me and it gives me power gems from the relics. It also gives me additional gems to fill up the board, and I'm able to deal enough damage to take out the boss, which is the most important thing, and it was fun to play with as well. Now finally, I do have a Gemfall deck that I wanted to showcase as well, but given that I only have the Gem Ombre as well as a support card, I needed to bring in another card to help me with the corrupt cards, and I dusted all my witches, so I just have the Frankenstein as my third card. To fill out the deck, I'm using Guru Pachyscept and also Satyr from the Earth Giants deck so that I could fill up with a bit more power gems because I need to be able to clear the board in order to activate the Gemfall mechanics. Now, this is another deck that doesn't have any dispels for dodge. So plays like the other deck that I was talking about, where you just have to wait for a couple of turns and then you can activate everything. So at this point, I wait until the dodge goes away, and then I go ahead and activate all of the skills. But notice I do skip the support card here. The reason I do that is because the support card's ability will actually destroy gems every time you activate her and every time you match gems. And when you couple that with a gem spawner like Guru Pachyscept, it will then end up filling up the board with additional gems, which usually is a good thing, but I don't want to take up too much time. As you saw earlier from the animations, it already was a pretty long gem fall from just the Gem Ombre, and so I didn't want to take more time here. And this is one of the reasons why it's not my favorite deck. As you can see, the number of matches that it drops here, and the thing is, it's not giving it a really huge boost to attack. So you can see what I mean by that. So this is the second attack here. Notice that I'm dealing a little bit over 1.5 billion damage here with all of those drops. And near the end here, I actually decided against using Gem Ombre's battle skill here and just opted to go for a basic power gem swap here. And you can see with that, with minimal gem fall matches, I'm actually dealing very similar. I know it's a little less, but similar damage overall. And that is all for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Now, next week is Thanksgiving in the United States, and I will be on vacation with my family. I'll be unplugged, so I will not be making any videos or any recordings during that time. I will be back in the following week ready to take on the event afterwards. So thank you for watching. Take care. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your feedback and thoughts are, and I'll see you next time. Take care.